10 secret messages sent by hostages. Most of the time, we take our freedom for granted and sometimes even misuse it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but in a tragic situation where you end up a hostage, it's key that you apply some survival tactics and even devise a way to send out a message seeking help. If not, you'll probably wind up injured or worse. Here's a list of some few individuals who, in a similar situation, managed to send out secret messages without their captor finding out. Stay tuned as we dive through this list. Number 10. Illegal migration from South America goes sideways. Knowing that the South American population isn't pastoralists, you most definitely know what else can cause the migration for people. This group didn't opt to migrate miles on end on the raging sea for nothing, but a result of unbearable conditions in their home country. For this, they had to pay a price not less than $3,000 to be ferried across the sea in search of a better life. Things didn't turn out as planned since their boat developed some mechanical issues along the way. They were left for dead at sea with limited food and no means of communication with the outside world. Just as their supplies slowly dwindled, they met a fishing boat docked a distance from them. Whoever came up with the idea of writing a note, placing it in a bottle, and attaching it to the fishing line must be a genius. Their prayers were answered, and a Navy patrol with 2 other lifesaver boats came to their rescue. What a lucky day for them. Talk of a crazy way to secretly pass on information without your captor noticing. This mother of 2 is the best example of this. Wait and see how she managed to pass a message to the police under her violent husband's nose. Number 9. Coded message in pizza order saves mother and children from violent dad. After working 25 years at a pizza place, you're probably a guru at everything else other than decoding a cryptic message. But this Pizza Hut manager here shows you that decoding was also part of her training after a woman called to order a pepperoni pizza. On the printout, she noticed a strange message. It read, "Hostage, help, please call 911. Despite it being strange, she called the police immediately. Later on, the police arrested the customer's boyfriend who had kidnapped her and her 3 kids. This was after a fight she had with the 26-year-old boyfriend, prompting him to kidnap the lady and her children. The Pizza Hut manager and the courageous hostage were able to help the rescue of one of her children and herself from her kidnapper. After some convincing, the kidnapper boyfriend did agree to release the other 2 children. He surrendered and was arrested and charged with kidnapping and assault. Number 8. Prisoner of war soldier communicates through Morse code. It's a prestigious job to be appointed as a Navy pilot. There are risks, however, related to this job title that you've never imagined. You could easily become a prisoner of war, a victim of hate and such gruesome animosity. Jeremiah Andrew Jr., who was a Navy pilot, found himself spending many years in solitary confinement during the Vietnam War. He later spent 8 years in a prison cell accompanied by his whole crew. They were tortured severely for information. You can't begin to imagine the type of life in captivity. Desperate to be rescued, he attempted to use Morse code in an interview. It was easy as he pretended to be sensitive to light and kept blinking. He managed to inform the US government of the Treasury what they were undergoing. This heroic act led to the release of most of the prisoners of war in Vietnam, including himself. He truly deserved all of the medals that he received for his heroism. Number 7. Locksmith saves the day. An anonymous woman brushed shoulders with death when she was taken captive in a house. You'd expect the culprit to be a stranger, but it was her violent ex-husband who refused to move on with his life after they broke up. Even before the grisly incident, the lady wasn't comfortable knowing that the guy still had access to her house, therefore deciding to change her locks. She booked an appointment with a locksmith who was to come a night before his arrival. The ex-husband showed up unannounced and barged into the house using his key. He held the helpless woman hostage for several hours and had nothing of her pleading. He even threatened to set the house ablaze. The woman's efforts to get help through 2 emails she sent out were futile since she got no response. Early the next day, the locksmith came as scheduled and noticed nothing out of the ordinary. After finishing the job, Greg sensed weird energy between the two, but the lady kept a straight face as if nothing was up. Besides shadowing the woman all throughout his time in the house, Greg also realized something awkward when he requested payment. Another red flag was when the woman flashed a 911 writing scribbled on her hands. Greg kept his cool, and once away from the house, he contacted the local police, who responded within minutes. Don't you think this brave lady was quite smart? To think of this way to save her skin from her captor? Let's take a look at yet another member of the fast food staff who played a vital role in saving a hostage. Stick around and let's see the tactics used to pass this secret note. Number 6. Burger King staff handed a note by a hostage victim. It was a day like any other when something unordinary happened. A British woman handed one of the staff at Burger King a concealed note. Let's start from the beginning. The lady was on a trip in Portugal when she met up with Mr. Hernandez, a local in the city. What started as a conversation ended with the two leaving the club together. Little did she know what she was getting herself into. When they got to his house, the sweet-looking middle-aged man turned vicious and taped her up, storing her in a secluded room. In there, she found another Brazilian woman. A few days later, the Brazilian woman successfully escaped. The British woman suffered torture and threats for close to a month. And one day when they left for the shopping center, she used the only chance she would get at freedom. At a Burger King joint, she scribbled a little distress note and handed it to one of the cashiers at the store. The cashier acted quickly and informed the local authorities, who intervened and tracked down the culprit. In such situations, we must remain brave or else burn out the slightest opportunity for freedom. This woman played things cool when the police appeared and only called out her captor once she was a safe distance from him. Number 5. Crystal cargo ship is taken hostage by pirates. Here's yet another interesting story about a ship taken hostage by pirates. Despite a foolproof schedule and procedure, these cargo ship occupants found themselves hijacked. This was when some strange men came on board. They quickly shielded themselves in the control room, giving them the upper hand. They were able to send out a distress message via radios, and rescue came within no time. Soon after, the hijackers shied away, and the ship's occupants regained authority over their ship. Number 4. Caroline Rachelle escapes a violent relationship. Caroline Rachelle was in a violent relationship until 2018, when her boyfriend decided to take her hostage. Her quick thinking saved her from the wrath of her knucklehead boyfriend. Following allegations of seeing another man, he overreacted, even threatening to hire goons to run her over with a train. Besides brandishing a weapon at her, he once tried to slit her throat after badly battering her. She once tried jumping through the window, but was caught. She nearly lost hope of life until she seized an opportunity to save herself. The pet, who suffered an ear injury, was the only reason she was allowed to leave the house to the veterinarian. Once there, she skillfully scribbled a note and slipped it over to the receptionist at the counter, who notified the police. Despite physical injuries sustained during the ordeal, Caroline is glad to walk away with her dear life. Number 3. Communication between FARC hostages and Army in the jungle. The Army isn't only a pillar of security, but also a master of disguise. The Colombian Army proved their advanced skills when they adopted weird methods to communicate with FARC rebel hostages. To reach out to the expectant women, they used balls written with coded messages and floated them downstream, where women regularly were sent to fetch water. Another time, they used parachutes neatly wrapped around baby soothers. Would you have thought of this as a means of communication without rousing attention to their captors? And with that, it's now time for today's best pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. So if you come across a photo online and you want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in our future videos. Number 2. Oregon dispatcher helps hostage to safety. It requires a unique set of ears to work as a 911 dispatcher, and the Oregon police officers sure did a remarkable job. A woman in a violent relationship had to adopt stringent measures to seek out help. She called the emergency call line and pretended to order a pizza. The keen officer deciphered her information and was first able to make sure that she wasn't injured. Immediately, he sent the nearest mobile patrol unit to the house. The police were able to rescue the hostage and arrest the culprit. Kudos to the officers who acted swiftly. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. And number 1, the LINDT Cafe Siege. The LINDT Cafe Siege is truly one for the books. A cat and mouse game between hostages and a lone gunman erupted. This was after a strange man wielding a gun came into the shop and took it hostage. It was a terrifying 16 hours with bullets flying all over the place. Some hostage lives were even lost as the police effortlessly tried to rescue the hostages. The mother who had informed the world and authorities of the incident had received this news from her son, who only sent odd messages, which alerted the mother to act on her intuition. What would you do if you were held hostage during any of these situations? Let us know in the comments down below.